Hello and welcome back to my small little library. Today is probably going to be a rather short video, but it is something I wanted to talk about because I realized over the last couple of maybe 2 months, I have seen more and more book talkers and booktubers doing massive unhauls under the sake of wanting to stop with overconsumption, and then going back and doing massive hauls right after. And I kind of want to talk about the whole overconsumption, underconsumption topic when it comes to books and reading, and also what I see online currently and why I think it's a little bit of a cop-out for some, and feeling maybe less guilty for some, and the things that I think are just slightly problematic and portray this really weird picture of how owning books and reading and collecting books should be. So yeah, let's have a little chit chat about overconsumption, underconsumption. I I am somewhere in the middle. I never had a problem with shopping. I grew up with my mom taught me a lot about money and that you shouldn't buy too much and how you kind of should look after your stuff. And so I'm not somebody who ever had a phase where I was consuming and shopping and just getting stuff without just for the sake of it. But I am somebody, I own a lot of books. I do fashion and makeup, and I have a lot of hobbies. So it's not I'm not consuming or anything like that, but I do keep conscious mind of what I buy. I had phases where I maybe bought a little bit more, but never in excess. And over the last couple of years, I have become a lot more conscious to what I buy or buy, what I will buy and won't buy. I have, for example, one makeup bag that has all of my makeup, and I have a couple of extra eyeshadow palettes. That is it. I don't own any more makeup because this is all I need, and I don't really I don't want to own more. I don't need to own more, so that is has never been a problem. Obviously with books, I had phases where I bought a lot more, and I have toned that down a lot. I have bought pretty little book-wise this year, and I also won't because I do want to get my physical TBR down to around 30 books. That is kind of the sweet spot I'm aiming for. At the current times, I'm at around 140 roughly, so there is a way to go there, but I am, it's not super excessive. I plan on reading them all. I don't go out and buy 30 books on a regular basis. So it's not that I'm adding massive amounts of books to the TBR. I'm just slowly whittling it down in a sensible way. But yeah, overconsumption in general is a pretty big topic obviously at the moment, and we can see it is a trend to overconsume on social media. And then on the other side, you have the trend of underconsumption or the critique of overconsumption, which I love. I watch a lot of channels that talk about the overconsumption of rich YouTubers, for example, in the fashion and makeup niche especially, and in the toys section of things. The Labubus and these weird slime thingies, there's a lot of overconsumption happening in general. And what I'm also seeing is a lot of people jumping onto the train of oh, I'm tired of overconsuming, and then trying to get into the niche to jump on the hype and make profit through that. And that is something I feel I have seen a lot in the book community on all platforms. I'm only on YouTube and Instagram, but obviously you get a lot of TikToks uploaded to YouTube as shorts, so I have seen a lot. And I think I'm not gonna show you any, just because I feel with booktube and book talk especially, you can, even if I make sure you can't see the name. I feel like you can recognize the bookshelves of a lot of people. So, and I don't want to blast any specific individual. I think it's like a systemic problem and not an individual problem. But yeah, I have seen a lot of videos of people being like, I have overconsumed with reading, which is nice to acknowledge that you have done that. Like, props to that. I'm totally for talking about realizing that. And then unhauling hundreds of books at a time, which in my opinion is a totally senseless thing. Because what you see afterwards is that these people are still hauling books. And I get that they get PR and that it is their job to show books and read books, you know, especially with like the bigger booktube channels. You know, if they make their money through having a book-centered YouTube channel, for example, I get that you maybe own and get more than the average person. But to go ahead and be like, oh, I am over-consuming books, I never got around to read all of these, I'm gonna unhaul hundreds of books at a time, but then going and like, oh, the shelves are so empty, and so I bought 30 books. Why? Like, you haven't understood anything about overconsumption at that point, and even if you like donate all of the books that you unhaul, you're still in the same circles of buying the same amount of books again, and just in this, you know, I feel like they're all stuck in the circle of unhauling massive amounts of books to then haul slightly less, but still an amount of books that is not readable by them in a month. And like, what is the sense in that? Because you can't read all of those books. Like, it's not physically possible. And you know, as much as I feel like the people are realizing that they are over-consuming because they have massive TBRs that they can never get through, there are some channels out there I have actually seen who make an effort to get through through their physical TBR, the same as I am, you know, trying every book and then either DNFing or finishing the book. That is the same that I'm doing. Oh, I don't know what her channel name is. I think she's called Emily. I'm gonna put the channel name here. She is going through her physical TBR without doing the massive unhauls and stuff like that. I really like that about her. We don't share a lot of like reading taste, I feel like, but I like the way she tackles her TBR. So I'm gonna mention her as like a good example. I'm much more comfortable with that than mentioning the bad examples. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people are using the moniker of overconsumption and realizing that and seeing the trend of like people realizing they're overconsuming and then pledging to not overconsume in the future. And they are using that to get rid of the books that they realized they didn't want to read in the first place, or that they don't want to read anymore because they have been on their shelves for so long unread that just the interest isn't there anymore. And then they go ahead and fill those spaces back up, because obviously now the bookshelves look way more empty. They don't have the massive TBR anymore. Obviously they have a lot of books they want to read. Like, that is the same for me. I just don't buy the books because, you know, I don't have the capacity to read all of those books, and I also don't have the money to buy all of those books. I do prefer buying books secondhand anyway, if I can get them secondhand, which in Germany getting English books secondhand, you know, is a little bit harder than getting German books secondhand. But they often have like massive new book hauls, and I get wanting to be there for the authors. You know, you want to pay respect to the books that you love, and you want to contribute to, you know, authors being able to continue their careers, because obviously it's getting harder and harder with all of the shitty AI stuff going on, you know. But it's not sensible, and it is not the right thing to do to unhaul massive amounts of books and then fill the shelves back up. That is not what you should be doing, and that is also not what you should be showing your audiences, because we all know that especially teenagers are pretty, you know, impressible. Like, they are easily swayed by the people they look up to, by their YouTube idols, by, you know, the people they just think live the life that they want to live, you know. We weren't that much different at a younger age. Like, I wanted to be like a gaming YouTuber for the longest time because I still watch him, but not as much anymore, Gronk, which is like really, really big German gaming YouTuber, and I have watched him since I am on YouTube. Like since I first got a PC that could go onto YouTube. Like forever I've been watching him, and I wanted to be like a gaming YouTuber for the longest time. But like obviously that's not a feasible thing for everybody. But like if you go out and show the people like, yeah, get rid of your books, get rid of all of your books, and then just buy new ones that you like better, that you actually want to read, that isn't going against overconsumption. That is just using a trend to get more attention to your channel, be the good example for a video or two, and then going back into your old habits and just doing it all over again. And that is setting such a bad example. And I've seen so many channels doing that, and I'm kind of annoyed by it. But the longer I'm on YouTube and the longer, like, you know, life goes on, the less I like haul videos actually. I used to love them mainly because I would live vicariously through other people, because I have never been somebody who buys a lot of stuff at one time. And, you know, I used to live through people because I would watch people haul stuff that I didn't have to like contend with, but it was interesting what is out there, you know? And you could always hope that the people in the book communities also do that, but I feel like with books it's a lot more that people are going out and actually buying the books that they get recommended. And if you, like, we still have the 30-40 book hauls by people, and I think it's just such a massive overconsumption, and it doesn't seem to change. And then using this like, oh, I got rid of all of the books I was never reading to, you know, clear my life a little bit, and then going back and buying the book. It's annoying to me. I think it's hypocritical, to be honest. And there are a lot of channels I've seen do that, and I just get annoyed. You can do with your money what you want. I get that. I totally get that. But I also think you kind of have to accept that you're an influencer and you have influence on people, and you should use that for good. And I think what the people are doing is not for the good of the community. I think we all should be a lot more selective what books we buy and what books we read. For example, I have read a lot of like Romance on Kindle Unlimited, and I'm currently curating a list of the ones I love so much that I want to buy a physical copy of. And I will buy physical copies of those to show my love for the authors and to reread it in a physical copy then. But like I'm curating a list. I'm not buying all of the ones that I loved. I'm just buying the ones I loved the most, that I think I would go back to the most. And I think that's much more sensible than going out and buying all of the books you're interested in and then unhauling them in a couple of years because you never got around to reading them because you can't read 30 books in a month. Like 30 like physical big books, you know. We're not talking about the 100-page romances. We're talking about like the big physical TBRs. So yeah, I kind of wanted to get my thoughts out about that because I am getting annoyed at the community, the creators more than the community, obviously. But I'm also not seeing a lot of people pointing that out. I'm seeing a lot of people being in the comments like, oh my god, I want to have the books as well, or like, oh yeah, you know, being like liking the process of getting rid of the books and then buying so many more. And I get that it's exciting, but it's so much of the wrong thing. Or if you want to do that, just don't put it under the label of overconsumption. Because if you are willing to say you are overconsuming and then just continuing with that, just don't bring it up. I don't think it's really all that sensible to bring it up. Just to view farm. It's annoying. Yeah, so that is kind of all of the thoughts I wanted to get out. It's the reason why I'm not doing haul videos anymore. If I buy a book, which, you know, I maybe buy one book like every 2 months. I think that is the current rate at that I'm buying books actually, which I think is a totally fair amount of books to buy, you know, whilst I'm trying to get the physical TBR down. Yeah, but it's the reason for no more haul videos from me, because I do not want to influence people to buy massive amounts of books, and I myself don't want to buy massive amounts of books anymore. So yeah, I hope you know, maybe if you haven't seen the videos, that maybe it's, you know, maybe look out for them and consume the content a little bit more consciously and not get swept up in it. I think that is the best thing we can do as like consumers of the content. And if you are somebody who does booktube content, maybe think about how you unhaul and haul books and how much your hobby is consumed by overconsumption, and if maybe it's not what you really should be doing. I think a lot of people, like, obviously the people don't do it in like a negative light. It's the joy for the hobby, but I think maybe sometimes less is more, you know, and yeah, maybe it's sometimes better to enjoy the hobby and not over consume the hobby in the amount that is currently everywhere, you know. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, found the topic interesting, and if you want to see me again, hopefully I will see you in the next video. Then I do vlogs and just talking videos about books. And yeah, if you're interested in that, maybe subscribe, leave a like if you liked the video, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.